video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. I have noticed, as I'm sure you have as well, Bitcoin is at a new all-time high and the sentiment is swinging towards good times, good vibes, positivity. The sentiment I expect to persist for a while at least. I also think that it's probably going to get more extreme. So today I just want to ball post a little bit, show you a few charts, show you what I'm looking at as the current setup. As always, we're going to just point at one or two things and try to maintain a composure, a situational and contextual awareness, and then we'll hop into some charts and see what we can see, and we'll check on some live trades and positions as always. So if you're new here, which I suspect a few of you will be, since price going up equals new eyes coming into the space, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow along. We call our trades out ahead of time. We show where the stop losses are publicly so that we can't possibly cheat it or come back after the fact and tell you we made money. So hit that subscribe button, follow along, and watch us do this like no other channel does. Before we get into today, I just have to quickly remind you that there is currently a 50% discount on the Slice mentorship program. There's a link in the pinned comment and description. You can click that, key in code CAMEL50 to claim 50% discount, and then you can have access to me personally, one-to-one chats. I do regular Q&A hosting sessions in here. We host live streams on a Friday now, which is a new feature recently added to Slice. Slice continue to update the platform. There's also this Discord type chat room going on in here, so you can click that and chat amongst yourselves and with me. And this was only supposed to be a 48-hour promotion, but I forgot to shout it out on the weekend's deep dive video. So we're going to run this for another 24 hours only. Like I said, you can claim 50% discount on the Slice mentorship program. So go ahead and try that out, if only for a couple of months. The first things first is, I think we are well and truly on our way to the banana zone right now. I'm sure you'll probably start to agree with this as well. And I notice we're nowhere near euphoria yet. So I think we've still got a bit of a wall of worry to climb. As you're going to see in a minute, I think this is where the wave 3 will complete, have a wave 4 and a weekly cycle low, and then off we go to the final top. I don't think there's much left in terms of time here, okay? I think based on the 4-year cycles, based on what I'm seeing in the charts, I don't think we've got a great deal of time left. But as you can see from this chart right here, all of the gains for the cycle are made in this final blow off top portion of the move. So I think the message today is pretty simple. I expect way higher prices, but I also expect this thing to top in the not too distant future. I think we're closer than ever to the end of this bull phase of the 4-year cycle. Big Mike showing us this count. He thinks that we are in the 3 of the 3 here, which suggests we may well be north of 190k before we get any kind of significant pullback. Yes, of course, there's going to be smaller pullbacks on the way up, but zooming out a little bit to make this count slightly easier to understand, we've got this here from Kushi, and this is absolutely what I think is in play. I think we've done 1 into 2, 3 into 4, and now this whole thing is a blow off top extended 5th wave, meaning we've gone 1, 2, this is 3 now, 4 will come in the not too distant future. That I expect to be at least a 30, if not a 40% correction. So I'm warning you ahead of time. I expect this to be a nasty correction, and I expect it to force many people to prematurely call the top. I do expect this thing to be over and done with extremely quick. I don't think we're going to have to spend anywhere near the amount of time we consolidated in here during this 33% correction. I don't think it's going to take anywhere near as much time as this did, which was also about a 30% correction. This one was about 25%, and I don't think, again, it's going to take anywhere near as much time as that. I think it's going to be short, sharp, violent, sudden, and then it's going to be immediately resolved to new highs. But I do think top to bottom, we're probably looking at 30 to 40% here when it arrives, before finally we find that 4th, which should be the weekly cycle low, and into the final 5th, which of course should be the top for the major 4-year cycle, as we start to then target the next 4-year cycle low late 2026. And so again, this is what I think is well and truly in play now. I mean, when I posted this update back on the 22nd of May, we were at 110k. Obviously right now we're at about 122k, so we are well on our way to that 150k plus target zone. Then, like I said, I expect us to have a violent correction into that weekly cycle low time frame, just like all the prior weekly cycles. And then the big question is, do we get that final push? Again, notice here the same theme, right? 1 into 2, 3, 4 weekly cycle, final blow off top 5th. So I'm going to continue to stick with this as the base case for Bitcoin. I'm going to continue to expect this thing to play out, especially if we maintain that confluence with the 3, 4, and 5 into the weekly cycle low time frame. And so as bullish as all of this sounds, as exciting and fun as all of this is, As always on this channel, I want us to maintain situational and contextual awareness, and I want us not to get suckered into the emotional side of this. I want us to continue to look around us and search for sentiment as we approach that major top. Okay, as we go higher and higher, as the tape turns more and more green, we should expect people to start to move the goalpost. You should expect to see this type of narrative here proliferate. He says, not convinced we see a bear market in 26 or 27. There's a real shot we're in the early stages of a multi-year bull with plenty of chop, no full reset. ETFs and Bitcoin treasuries changed everything. The institutional era is here. Now, that all sounds good, doesn't it? It all sounds fun. It all sounds nice. No more bear markets, up only forever. But remember, this is exactly what we expect to see proliferate as the tape turns more bullish, okay? So do not get suckered into this way of thinking. Do not allow yourself to get this kind of greedy, complacent, and emotional, because nothing moves in straight lines. And as bullish as I am on Bitcoin, especially over the long term, I'm certainly one of these people that expects this thing to be trading multiple millions per coin. This is something we see every single cycle, every single time the tape turns more and more bullish. People always like to convince themselves that it's never going to come back down. This time is totally different. There's never going to be another bear market or 4-year cycle. And I even blocked someone yesterday that spammed my entire comment section on the weekend's deep dive videos with clown emojis saying, this is a super cycle, bro. No more bear markets, 4-year cycle's dead, all of that kind of thing. And once again, you know, if you've been here any length of time at all, then you know how predictable this is. We've been talking about these types of tweets showing up 3 years ago. We were saying, as we get to this part of the blow off top, as we get to this late section of the 4-year cycle, people will become convinced that this seems reasonable and logical. But anyone that has a great deal of experience will know this happens every single cycle in this final banana zone phase. They were doing the same thing here, they were doing the same thing here, and they were doing the same thing here. So whilst yes, it is fun, whilst yes, it feels good to be making a bunch of gains, and whilst yes, we can be extremely bullish, because if we're right about this, then nobody is really ready for the types of price action to come. This will likely blow a lot of people's minds, and so long as you can get out near enough the top to call it the top, this could permanently change your life, particularly if you can reallocate that money back at the 4-year cycle low after potentially a 60, 70, even 80% bear market decline. But this type of thinking will get you wrecked, okay? So how do we use this type of thinking not to get wrecked? And this is what I want to continue to preach over the next few months. We have to be able to be objective in our observations. We have to be able to look around us, see these types of tweets proliferate, and say to ourselves, okay, the more of these we see, the more this becomes consensus, the more people seem to think that this is a reasonable and plausible and rational idea, the more we can start to use that as a sentiment gauge, combined with the TA, the cycles, and the Elliott Wave Count, to give us increased confidence that it is time to exit the market. In addition, we've got a 1 million plus prediction for this cycle. Again, not just moving the goalpost in terms of time, not just pretending like there's never going to be a bear market and there's never going to be another 4-year cycle, but we're now pushing price targets from what was originally quite lackluster, right? We'd be lucky to get to 120k, many people said. We'd be lucky to see 150k. Back here at 74k, most people were suggesting that that was the top, remember, okay? Markets have short memories, camels do not. Back here, sentiment was totally destroyed and many people quit the space. Sentiment was so bad here, I was making live streams begging people not to quit, remember? And now we've got people talking about clearing $1 million this cycle. And again, expect this to proliferate as we start to head higher and higher up this final leg in the banana zone, as we start to climb this final ascent. Expect more and more people to move the goalpost, both in terms of time and also in price. So as always, anything and everything is on the table. We can't discount 1 million, okay? There's a non-zero probability, let's be honest, okay? But what we don't want to do is allow our emotions to convince us that this cycle is going to be extremely different and that we don't need to sell, we don't need to take profit, okay? Let's continue to look around us, be objective, and make sure that we understand this type of stuff is absolutely normal and to be expected, and we mustn't get suckered into it. If you do get suckered into it, you're going to be aiming for 1 million only to watch this thing top at 250 or 300k and then crash 70 or 80%. Okay, and that is really not going to help you vastly increase your overall net worth over time. So make sure that when it's time to sell, when the signals are there, when the sentiment is extreme, you have the objective awareness to be able to clock that and use it in combination with your TA to say, okay, probably time to take some chips off the table here. As a final note here, I want you to expect big accounts to continue to do this. Move the goalposts, become greedy, complacent, and euphoric, and expect this channel to continuously warn you about that kind of thing and hunt for that sentiment extreme, because that is one of the most powerful tools that I personally use to be able to get me out near the tops. So I know some people don't want to hear that. They just want to hear super cycle up only forever. But at the end of the day, this is business, right? This is a business. This is not a sport. This is not a hobby. And if this thing is going to move up over the next few months violently and then crash 70 or 80%, you better believe I'm not holding through a 70 or 80% bear market. Over in the stocks, after exceptional V-shaped recoveries, forward drawdowns are usually muted. Since the Nasdaq's recovery, data informs the forward max drawdown from here is a mere 3.55%. And if you think about it, as we get to the blow off top, right, things start off like this, and then the closer we go to parabolic, the more vertical we get. Meaning that we're going to start to cover enormous ground here and probably continue to lock people out as we approach that major top. So pause your screen and take a good look at this data, but it kind of fits the idea that things are just going to get more and more extreme as we approach these major tops into the end of this year. And on top of that, okay, this time is different. Well, actually, yes, it is, because gold is now outperforming the US stock market over the last 25 years. People normally think of gold as a risk-off asset, but this time around, okay, there's a permanent central bank bid. They're going to revalue this thing to help plug some of the debt, as I'm sure you know if you've been on this channel for any length of time at all. And gold is probably just getting started as it completes its final blow-off top move as well. We are in the everything rally moment, and everything is going to come tumbling down at the same time. So again, keep that contextual and situational awareness. As for the stock market, I think we're late enough here to start to think seriously about heading for a daily cycle low. We expect this thing to show up somewhere around day 40, which would be about the 23rd of July. So good chance we've seen the top, maybe one or two more bullish candles at the most, and then I think we can start to head for a daily cycle low. According to the data, again, we shouldn't expect this to be a massive and whopping 10% correction. We should expect a few percentage points of decrease into that cycle low, and then again, we can start to add more trades, move the stops up as we always do from the initial positions, double our exposure without increasing our risk, and look to stay long and strong to much higher numbers. Again though, keeping that contextual awareness that there's probably not much time left to capture these gains. Gold looks like it's almost ready to turn here and start to violently push to the upside, so that's good. Silver is apparently leading here, which I like the look of. Of course, we've got a couple of positions in the level 3 members section for SilJ where we're capturing this move, so just to let those guys know, if this thing moves up a little bit more, then I think the stop from the first position can come up underneath this one, and we can continue to see what this market has got for us. Some pretty nice gains so far, but I'm actually targeting a lot higher numbers for this SilJ position. XRP is approaching a 3 handle, okay, so if you know, you know. And Bitcoin at 122.5. Okay, so is the lockout rally in the room with us? Is the slingshot in the room with us? Yes, it absolutely is. Okay, yes, it absolutely is. Congratulations to all the Camel Crew. Congratulations to all the people that didn't quit at the lows. Congratulations to all of the people that are still here. Okay, and great times are just around the corner, but please, as much as the memes are fun, remember where we are in that major 4-year cycle. Do not allow people to convince you that this thing is going to 1 million and we're never going to have a bear market again. So what is there to say for now? Okay, long and strong. Those crypto stocks I suspect are going to be firing off. It looks like they are. Coinbase, okay, nearing the levels for the level 3 members that we're going to start to unwind those major long-term account positions that we acquired from the lows and from the spill. I suspect things like the short-term trade for Riot is about to break out. So, I mean, it's party time, right? It is party time, but you can probably tell by my overall tone, as much as I would love to be jumping up and down and screaming bull market and all these higher prices and drawing in eyes onto my channel and increasing my views and, you know what I mean, being one of those normal guys that has a YouTube channel, I just can't do it, right? Because I know this is the hardest part of the cycle to deal with. I know that this is, for me, much harder to find tops than it is to find bottoms. And I also know that when this thing tops, it's going to come tumbling down, and I don't want anything to do with a buy and hold during such volatile bear markets. So as ever, one day at a time, long and strong, continue to push, do the basics right, keep that risk managed. And other than that, have a fantastic week. I'm your boy Camel. Until next time, take care. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel